Shalom, Saints. If you are a part of a community or a home assembly within Straitway and interested in submitting a video for Straitway TV, please have your leadership reach out to Michael Israel. Bless you.
Shalom family, today we're doing an updated recipe video for the cassava flour tortillas. This recipe has changed quite a bit since the first video, and I wanted to answer some questions that I've gotten. All right, so let's get into it. So we're going to start this recipe today off with just 1 cup of cassava flour. So one thing that I want everyone to really understand is that this recipe is very forgiving, okay? And depending on the brand of cassava flour you have, the ratios between water and oil are going to change. So, for example, my last recipe had quite a bit of butter in it, but with this new cassava flour, it did not do well with that much butter. So as you make these tortillas, please just experiment and know that as long as you have the right consistency, the actual amount does not matter as much as you having the correct consistency. So for example, today I have 1 cup of cassava flour. You're going to need some type of oil. You can use butter, you can use olive oil, grapeseed oil, any type of oil, doesn't matter. You want to have some xanthan gum. It's a binder and a thickener. That's what's going to help it have the stretchiness. Now, cassava flour by itself is already very goopy, gooey, stretchy. So if you're in a pinch and you don't have the xanthan gum, I think it's worth a try to even do it without the xanthan gum. And you want some type of seasoning. We're gonna just use salt, but I've used adobo seasoning before. I've added fresh herbs into it, you know, just depending on what recipe you're gonna be using it for. All right. And our last ingredient is a pot of hot water. Now with this hot water, you want to heat it up to a hot temperature, but you do not want to put scalding, just boiled water into your dough. Because if you do, cassava flour will congeal and it will become like fufu. It will become very jelly. So yes, but you want it to be warm so that it can start activating the starches in the cassava flour so that it will have a nice stretchy texture and it will stick together. All right, so one of the changes that I made with this recipe is that everything is going to be mixed in a bowl. You will not have to knead the dough at all. So let's go ahead and season our tortillas. You actually don't have to season if you don't want to, or you can put more salt if you want. That was probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon. We got 1/4 teaspoon. We're gonna do even less than that. About 1/8 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Now for the oil, we're going to do a couple of tablespoons. All right. And as we mix in the oil, we're just going to start mixing in the hot water. All right, so now I'm mixing it. We're going to add a little bit more cassava flour. The consistency we want is a scoopable Play-doh or a cookie dough consistency. That is perfect right there. So this is the consistency that we want. Okay. So we're going to cover the dough and get ready for our tortilla press. This is a cast iron tortilla press. You're going to want to cut out a few pieces of parchment paper that will fit into your tortilla press like this. You're gonna need 2 pieces of parchment paper for each tortilla, but we are gonna reuse them, so you'll see. So you're gonna put a scoop on there. Over the other side. Then we have our tortilla. So how we're gonna cook these tortillas is you're gonna take 1 parchment paper off the top. You're gonna take this entire piece of parchment paper with the tortilla on it. Then you're just gonna put the entire thing on a hot skillet, just like that. And you can see that when you first put it on here, it's a light color. As the tortilla cooks, it's going to turn brown. And as it cooks, it's going to be easier to take off of the parchment paper. So we're just waiting for most of the edges to turn brown, and then I'll be able to take it off the parchment paper and continue on. Okay, so it should look like this. This is ready to flip. A few more seconds, maybe 30 more seconds. I have a dish here, and I'm gonna cover the finished tortillas with a towel. Cover with a towel, and you just keep doing that over and over. This is a great project for 2 people, but even if it's just 1 person, once you get into the groove of it, you can do mini tortillas very easily. All right, so let's do another one. Shalom family, so here are the tortillas. Right here, they're nice and thin and ready for whatever recipe that you desire. I definitely suggest, if you're gonna use them later on, to cover them with some type of plastic to keep the moisture in. If you leave these out, they will become very hard and stale. So these are definitely something that you want to use immediately. Or you can freeze them and then thaw them back out, and you can heat them up in the microwave or in an oven, but they need to be covered so that the steam will bring back this type of texture. All right, bless y'all family. Shalom.
If you are part of a community or home assembly within Straitway and interested in submitting a video for Straitway TV, please have your leadership reach out to Michael Israel. We welcome more righteous content.